There's the old classic. Oh, this brings back memories from not very long ago, actually. Oh, I can't pretend I haven't played this in a long time, because I never bloody stopped playing this thing. Certainly not until Manic Miners turned up. Right, I suppose it was inevitable at some point that I would, I'd get around to doing a little bit of the original. Hello. Adorable. Right,
Thriller night.
So, yeah, I'm not going to bother explaining what the hell is going on here. If you don't know, then you haven't been here very long. But I'm sure you'll figure out as time goes by.
Moving Rock Raider.
What's the difference between that and these? Oh, they're all unlocked instantly, are they? My goodness. Right, I must confess, and I'm slightly ashamed to say this, but I actually haven't played, original Rock Raiders since I discovered Manic Miners. I suppose because it spoilt me so much. So I thought, now that we've finished the Basmod campaign of Manic Miners, it might be nice to change the pace a little bit and play a little bit of this. I don't intend on doing very much, probably just one video, but I thought it might be cute to go back and after 4 years or so see where it all started.
The transporter aboard the LMS Explorer has been slightly damaged due to low power and is not working properly. A team of Rock Raiders has been teleported into the wrong cavern and they need to find their way back to the tool store. Drill through the cavern walls and once you've found it, start our mining operation by collecting 5 energy crystals.
Sorry, I should have pressed space to move the dialogue along. My goodness. Oh my goodness gracious me, how the hell do these ruddy camera controls work again? It's been a long time. Right, okay, so I can zoom out with that, and move around with that, and how do I, oh, I can't, I just have to like point to the edge of the screen. Oh my goodness gracious me. So, like I said, it's been a little bit of a while. You'll have to forgive me, I hope. Can I, no, I want to go to like the main set of options. Advanced options, here we are. No, not advanced options. Same options as before. Right, I thought it was like, yeah, here we are, this is it. This is what I wanted. Right, there we are. Now we can see a little bit more, vaguely, sort of what we're doing. My goodness gracious me. I know on the channel we've played through a lot of, you know, random old games from my childhood, but my goodness, the mouse sensitivity is just all wrong today, isn't it? I just can't catch a break.
Dad.
I know I've played.
Small spider.
Even a man with arachnophobia can find you cute. You know you've made a cute design for a very flat little spider, right? Sorry, I keep pressing the keys in order to try and do things that you can do in Manic Miners, but of course you can't do that. Oh, man alive. This gives me a better appreciation for all the hotkeys and things that Manic Miners introduced. My goodness. I know I talk a lot on the channel about they don't get injured from falling over spiders. So that's a Manic Miners thing. I thought that was a universal thing. I stand entirely corrected. I know I'm being very dumb, but never mind. It's nothing out of the ordinary. Yes, I know I talk a lot on the channel about various old games that I played as a child, but I mean, there is no game that I've played for longer. There is no game probably that I've played more. There is no game that probably had a, I was going to say, great influence on my life. I mean, no, not really. You know, it didn't really teach me very much. Because I didn't grow up to be a worker in a Victorian coal mine, so these sorts of skills didn't come rightly handy.
Found the tool store. Now collect 5 energy crystals.
I forgot he came down a little platform. Oh man, look at that. Look at that little old crystal there. Not you.
Rubble.
Why is it taking me 4 years to get back into playing this? It's absolutely criminal. I should be playing this game all the time. But no, as I say, as I said once, I think in a Manic Miners video,
4 more energy crystals.
I love it comes down a little platform. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I love that. I appreciate it more now, but this little piece of ore is actually, it's not exactly the same, but it's much more closely related to the actual sort of Lego rock that they made in the sets for the theme, which you could sort of break, well, not break, but it came in two parts, right? It had like a little stud inside, and then you could put a little crystal or something else in there in order to in order to put something inside the rock for people to drill and discover.
2 energy crystals now.
Look at this. How under the sun, all those years ago, did we ever look at that low poly thing and figure out how to build it?
You're more than halfway
Real
there.
pieces. I mean, it's not an overly detailed design, you know, in terms of the complexity of the building strategies, but sheesh. I love this game. I love this game so much. This game is just. I was going to say, I seem to
Only
could zoom
one
out
more energy crystal to go now.
You probably couldn't actually. I somehow doubt the game has changed in the 5 minutes or whatever it's been. I'm getting all my buttons wrong. Stop it. There we are. Is no one going to go and get that crystal? According to this, we've found 7. Yes, there's loads hanging around. Are my priorities all wrong? No, they're not, because that's at the top, so they really should be getting these a little bit more expediently, but hey ho, that's the joy of the AI. Should we, oh, this! This classic bug! Brilliant, and the frame rate has gone, and there we go. I'd completely forgotten.
Well done! You've got all 5 energy crystals. Mission complete.
Indeed. I possessed a man, and then his eyes were overcome with a sea of lavender, or whatever it was that happened. Ah, and the screen, yes, and the screen, slightly buggy screen on various different. How did I get 100% of the walls drilled? How did I get 100% of the walls drilled? Because I didn't drill out 100% of the walls. And my base size wasn't 0, it was 1. But never mind. Doesn't matter. Let's all just carry on regardless as if everything's fine. I still got 94% though, which is pretty bloody shocking if you ask me. Oh, I remember you could only save at the end of a level, couldn't you? So if you'd finished a level and forgotten to save and you wanted to save because it was a tough one, you didn't want to have to do it again, you'd actually have to go back to a quick mission like Drill a Night and go back and save again. My goodness. My goodness gracious me, how the hell did I forget these things? Sorry, I'm not really playing the game here as much as I'm just reminding myself how the world used to work.
Rock Raider HQ. We need a power station. Upgrade the tool store and build a section of power path next to it. Next, construct the teleport pad and upgrade it. Build another section of power path next to the teleport pad. When you have collected enough energy crystals and ore, construct a power station. Be very careful, Rock Raider. The walls of the cavern are unstable and may need reinforcing.
Oh, I presume you mean geologically unstable, not just, you know, emotionally unstable, and they carved scars into the side of their cheeks for fun. I don't know. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think as I said in Manic Miner's video, maybe recently, maybe 100 years ago, I can't bloody remember. Yes, I remember. You have teleported a Rock Raider down to the planet. You can start to drill and refine walls. You can also collect energy crystals and ore, construct buildings and vehicles. Indeed. I don't really know how you would have got into this level without finding that out, but we won't worry about it. Yeah, as I said in the Manic Miners video, I actually have no memory of ever first playing Rock Raiders, which leads me to the conclusion that I've been playing Rock Raiders further back into the past than my memory actually goes, which is slightly incredible and slightly worrying, actually. But no, I think if I had to pick any game that reminds me of my childhood in a positive way, then it would it would almost without doubt be Rock Raiders. Is definitely the one that goes back the furthest, and I have some very. Well, again, you know, I was gonna. Did people get injured by that or not? I heard bad noises. I suppose again because I started playing Rock Raiders when I was so young. I don't actually have, now that I think of it, any distinct like specific memories of playing Rock Raiders. As if like I don't know, I came home one specific day and played it and something. I don't know. In the same way that I have specific memories of either specific parts or specific points in my life when I was playing other games, but I don't know. Rock Raiders is just the sort of a safe game, I suppose. I was gonna say I can never feel like sad or stressed or worried while playing this game. Maybe go back and play Back to Basics, Phil. Maybe go back and play Lake of Fire a few times, Phil. Maybe then you'll feel freaking stressed. I'm looking down here to find out how much ore and crystals I've got, but of course that's not where you find these things these days, is it?
Priorities.
I know when I was younger I would always put the shall we see if I can do this slightly better than last time. I would always put the how do I here we go. I would always put the brightness of the cavern right up because I didn't like how dark it was, but I'd have the little 3D effect here with these little reinforcements. These are cute. I like how they seem to have big red bushy eyebrows until you get closer to them, and then all of a sudden they don't.
An energy crystal has been found.
Yes. This seems so not primitive, but restricted by comparison to how spoiled we are with manic miners these days, in the sense that in this mode, pretty much all I can do is walk around and drill walls. Can't clear rubble, I can't pick up items, I can't build anything. I don't know, it's like, could you get in and out of vehicles, or did you have to do that manually? I feel like you had to do that manually. Oh, yes, and look, if you can, there's another thing. I don't know why I'm bothering to tell you this, I'm sure you know. But look, the seams sort of slowly go down in sort of stages until you finally break them down, which isn't something that manic miners carried across, but yes, friend, you could walk up there, and then across here, and then all the way up the wall. Yeah, I've forgotten you people used to do that. Or you could have just walked in a straight line. Oh my goodness, the pathfinding.
An energy crystal has been found.
Ah, such a happy little phrase. Such a happy, joyous little phrase, which always made little Phil so very happy and so very pleased about life. Right, should we upgrade something? Hooray! Build a teleport pad now. Can I train people to be explosives experts? No, because I've just told you to go and upgrade, haven't I?
Cannot train Rock Raider.
Well, isn't that just a darn shame? I remember these buttons being this small. Kitty on. I've never felt so old in my life. Tell you a boring story that I'm sure won't interest you in the slightest, but I'll tell it to you anyway, because if you're watching this video, you clearly don't care about me making frightfully self-indulgent videos, so I'll carry on, shall I? No, I had a bit of a senior moment the other week. I was in a supermarket and I was trying to use the self-service machines. I wanted to buy my lunch, and I hadn't been there in like, I don't know, a week or so, and they changed the layout screens on the self-service machine, and it took me a good 2 or 3 minutes to actually work my way through and actually find the buttons that I needed to in order to let me scan my 2 things and then pay for them. And I did feel, given it normally takes like 30 seconds to go through a self-service machine, I did feel for a moment a bit like, you know, watching somebody's granddad with an iPad. It's like, how did I do this? I'm pressing the buttons and I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm only 23 and I already feel strangely old, but never mind. Even though, comparatively speaking, I suppose I'm probably younger than most people with fond and distinct memories of playing Rock Raiders, given that it came out in 1999, and I don't know how old you'd have to be to sort of get this and understand it. It'd have to be like at least maybe 8 or 9 or something. I don't know. Have I got a copy of the box somewhere? I don't know if it's got an age rating on it. It's probably just some sort of.
Good work. Your
Probably
power
predates
pack is
age
built.
ratings
Now
on things like this,
construct
doesn't
your
it?
power station.
Yeah, here it is.
Can't find somewhere flat enough to build it? Try putting your power path in a different place.
3+. 4-year-old do back to basics? I don't think so, but by all means. If I'm reading that weird little ELSPA, I don't know what that is. Is that some sort of is that some sort of precursor to all the Peggy stuff and all the rest of it? I don't know. It was a long time ago. I keep clicking the wrong things. There we are. Oh yes, I forgot. And different colours for different things. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, so I suppose most people that played it would have been, well, if we're going off the age rating, if they had to be older than 3 in 99 when this came out. It came out, I don't know, does it have a date on it? Yes. Yes, yeah, well, there's a copyright for 1999, so I'm going to assume so. Oh, these little flashy lights. And then something would come along and screw up the pathfinding, and then they drop one of the barriers, and then they never pick it up again, and then you'd be stuck, and then you wouldn't be able to carry on playing the game. Ah, the joys of ancient times. No, so I suppose most people were like, I don't know, let's be more recent. Let's split the difference and say 5 in 1999. I suppose would have been born in like 1994, which would make them about, 7 years older than I am. So I suppose comparatively I am relatively young compared to most people, who probably remember this game if they played it when it came out, I suppose, rather than when I did, which is just because you could pick up old computer games in a charity shop for £1, and that was a lot cheaper than buying an Xbox and the latest games on console. So that's just the reality of my childhood. But, yes, so perhaps it strikes me I shouldn't be getting worried about my age. You know, I just remembered. I remember when we were playing Manic Miners and they introduced music into the game, and I was like, I don't remember the music ever being in this game. I don't ever remember the music being in this game, and thinking that it was all original compositions, but no, apparently it wasn't. Apparently it was all the music from the original, and I've just realised there's no music playing here. I have a vague memory from a comment that someone wrote probably years ago now, terrifyingly, saying that the music was in the original game, but you had to have the disc in to play it. Because I don't have the disc in at the moment. The game seems to run perfectly well, or at least without the music anyway. And it flattens the earth when you do that. I'd completely forgotten it did that. Did it do that to a significant degree, to such an extent where, like, a piece of ground would not have been build-uponable, if I can coin a word, and you could sort of flatten it down by building other things on more agreeable land to the side. I don't know. I'm not a builder. I don't know how these things work. Oh my goodness! I really should be saving up the ore actually, because I should upgrade my tool store so that I can train people as explosives experts, and we can do a bit more drilling. That would probably be a vaguely sensible strategy. Is it my imagination, or do they all seem to be moving a little bit slower than in Manic Miners? I mean, you can change the game speed, can't you? So this will probably break everything, but let's do it anyway. Zoom! Bloody hell, those things that give you epilepsy if you ain't careful. Zoom! Everyone zoom around. I can't imagine playing a game on like this. I feel like I get motion sickness just watching them. Right, what was it at before? I don't know. Maybe it was at that. I think that's actually a little bit faster than they were before, but that's fine. I don't especially mind. I don't especially mind. Right. How much more do we need? We need lots more ore than we've got. Though saying that, my goodness, the frame rate. My goodness, the frame rate. I know I'm playing this on a much weaker computer than my proper computer, but come along now, it can't be all that intensive. I mean, surely. I remember with these, yes, a little message comes out, and you can press a little button, and it tells you where the crystal was found, which is really cute. They don't seem to go away when you collect the crystal, which is a which presumably is the thing that Manic Miners introduced. Although maybe it's still counting the crystals there, but then it said there were 3, and there's only 2 there, so that would clearly be a load of absolute poppycock. But never mind. Can I actually get somebody to do this? I'd forgotten that this little box drawing thing looks just exactly the same as on an old Windows computer. Please tell me they didn't lift it directly from the OS of an old Windows computer. Yep, you've beamed down your power station, time to beam it straight out again. That's how you can now build electric fence, except I can't because, you know, we're all up in the sky.
Good work. You successfully constructed the power station. Mission complete.
I love that he's got all these random little platforms that you can just come out with all the rafters. My goodness. Oh no, I didn't get all the crystals, and I got a pathetic amount of ore. My goodness. Oh dear, I did really badly. Oh dear. I suppose that's one of the benefits of the levels where collecting crystals isn't a key objective, because you can, oh my goodness, that was terrible. It's yeah, it allows you to sort of explore around a little bit more fully. It seems strange. I can't imagine. Well, I can, but I'd struggle to imagine.
A breath of fresh air.
Okay, so all the different campaigns in Manic Miners have made me completely forget the order of the missions. I know which one that is, and I know which one that is, and I know which one that is, though I'm not sure it was in Basmod. In fact, I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I was saying that Basmod started up here, didn't it? Yeah, my goodness. Yes, remembering the order of the levels is different, but I don't feel like a breath of fresh air. No, a breath of fresh air was there. Of course the breath of fresh air was always there. This is just how the game was, Phil. Stop being a moron. Can we have a cut?
A new cavern has been found, but the area is very unstable. The cavern floor is covered with fallen rocks and boulders. We must establish Rock Raider HQ and begin our mining operation. But first, we must reinforce the walls and clear the debris from the floor. Once the cavern is secure, continue our mining operation by collecting 5 energy crystals.
And surely leave the other 3 that you found right next to them behind.
You must collect 5 energy crystals.
It's alright, I remember from the last time you yelled at me. Ah, dear. It's something else I've talked about in the past, but I'll talk about it again, because why the hell not? But from the sheer amount that I did play this game in my childhood, all of the like the little audio cues of people saying things, and then like the little mission introductions and things like that. So hearing, for example, this. No, not hearing that.
A landslide has occurred.
Not, I mean, yes, hearing that, but also not hearing that.
Solid rock.
Hearing that, there we are. Hearing things like
radar on, radar off
are really burned into my brain and into my psyche with no ability whatsoever to forget them. It's like I don't know, an old favourite song of yours that you can remember perfectly, even if you haven't heard it in many years. Just
a landslide has occurred.
Just burned into my brain, I suppose. My goodness. If they're yeah, so they just have the little arrow until they get to wherever it is they want to go, and then it's only when they start doing the task. Forgive me, it's getting rather late. Yes, it's only when they start doing the task that the actual little icon changes to indicate what it is they're actually supposed to be doing. I remember why that used to annoy me now, because they start walking off in a direction and you wouldn't know if it was to do the thing that you told them to do, or go off and do some other sort of mischievous thing. Right, can I just set you all to clear the same bit of floor? There we are. Now there's an efficient bit of business. My goodness, the terrifying thing is I used to be good at this. I used to be good at this. Not anymore. Of course not anymore. But once, many years ago, I could probably hold my own against... I was going to say against pretty much anybody. I didn't know anyone else that played the game, and even if I did, it wouldn't have made any difference, because it's hardly as if we could have competitive games of Rock Raiders. But But never mind, I almost called it Manic Miners then. Yes, I don't know. I do feel ever so slightly... not guilty. Regretful doesn't seem the right word either, but I do, to a certain extent, wish that I hadn't gone so long without playing this game again. Although saying that, there must have been many years when I went without playing the game because I played on console for quite some years. Because I got an Xbox 360 at one point, and then in 2015 I upgraded to an Xbox One before I built my computer in 2020. So yeah, there must have been like probably at least a good 6 or 7 years when I didn't actually have a computer to play on. So presumably many years have gone by without me playing this. But I don't know. I do slightly regret that I haven't come back and played it again more recently, because as much as it might seem primitive and rudimentary by comparison, when we're comparing it to the loveliness which is Manic Miners, it is, you know, it's the original, and it is something a little bit special and a little bit wonderful. So I intend to enjoy it once again. So let me can I look at the different things I can give you again? Oh, look at these little I love these little pictures. I love the little icicles that you can see here and the little purple thing. I don't know, there's just something very pleasing about that. Very pleasing indeed. Right, I don't know why I'm bothering to look at that, because you hardly need any other things here. Right, oh, forgive me. I do apologise.
Well done, you found an energy crystal. There are 4 more around, you must find them too.
I'm sure there's more than 4, but we won't worry about that. It does seem like the the frame rate seems to sort of die a little bit, but then it sort of jumps back up when you're in a quieter environment, presumably because there isn't as much for the graphics card to do. Man alive. Look at this game, right? Look at this. What? Yes, I know that. You told me that before, friend. Look at this game in all its glory, and think that just 4 years later, we had that Pirates of the Caribbean game from Akela and Ubisoft being released. So that is the jump that we made in the space of 4 years. Versus if you look at a game from, like, and maybe I'm being biased here, but if you compare a game from, say, 2015 to 2019, in my mind, there wasn't quite such a big jump. I mean, obviously I'm comparing apples and oranges because they're vastly different genres of game, but you know, at the same time, it's I don't know, just on a graphical level, it does seem quite a stark difference. Right, I want to see if I can upgrade somebody to be good at blowing bits up. Yes. Train as a boom boom box man. Can you go and do what I told you to do as well, please? Do you have to tell people to do this individually? You can't tell people. You can't tell like a group of people to go and do things. I don't know. I'd forgotten. Oh, you can't really see this. Sorry. There's a little. Yeah. Just leave the dynamite there. The joy of the pathfinding in the priorities in this game. Yeah, you can't see this properly, and I apologise, but if you're watching this, I'm sure you've played this yourself. But no, the little icon for using dynamite is the little sort of 3 sticks, arranged vertically, type of dynamite, versus the dynamite which I think was actually being used at the time, which is obviously this one, which is the little 2x1 tile thing with the dynamite printing on it. I just find that curious because in later themes is what I'm trying to say, like Power Miners, for example, they actually did have a dynamite piece, which was 3 little bits together. I wonder if this was. I wonder if that piece was slightly inspired by this. I don't know. What I do know is that the cat wished to be let in via the window, so I'm going to have to sort that out. Back in a tick. Hello. Come on in. Yes, I know it's cold out there. That's why I don't have the window open. Oh, my goodness. She wants her supper. Frankly, I feel the same way, but I can't be asked to go to the supermarket and buy any, so I'm just going to go hungry instead. Right. We haven't achieved much while I've been gone, but by all means, don't you worry about that. Right? You drop your little baked potato or whatever it is that you've got. Do you not have a drill? Is it because you haven't been upgraded? Is that the problem?
Rock Raider.
Yes. Right. Okay. So you haven't been upgraded, which is a problem, because you can only one person upgrade at a time or something, because you know you cheeky little chaps seem to be completely ignoring my instructions. But never mind. This actually gives me an opportunity to again not demonstrate something frightfully well, because it's underneath my big flapping face, so I apologise for that. But no, I remember somebody saying once, I think, that they thought the canteen was in the base game, but I was very much convinced it wasn't. And obviously, looking here, we've got the tool store and the teleport pad and the docks and the power station, the support station, the upgrade station, the geological centre, the ore refinery, the mining laser, and the super teleport pad. So obviously, there's no
An energy crystal has been found.
there's no canteen there. So
An energy crystal has been found.
bully. Yes, I am guessing then it probably came out of the... Yeah, just leave the job half-arsed by all means, mate. I keep right-clicking as well, trying to cancel things, but that clearly doesn't work, because it just works exactly the same way as the left mouse click. But hey-ho. Yeah, because if I remember correctly, some of the Lego themes from the late 90s, maybe the early 2000s as well, but definitely the late 90s,
2 energy crystals.
either in the instruction book or as a separate little thing, used to come with a little comic. The Rock Raiders ones definitely did. I have vague memories of some of the original Star Wars sets coming with little comics as well, because the Star Wars theme started in 99 as well, so that would definitely be the same sort of era. These people really need to be taught the concept of the crow's flies. Only 2 energy crystals left to collect. The chief seems to be on his tea break, so pardon him.
A landslide has occurred.
Should we blow up some stuff slightly closer to home, and probably blow up home while we're at it? But never mind. See, that's curious. You went for that one. Is it because you went for the most recently instructed dynamiting, or is it because it was the closest, or was it just random? I don't know. I wouldn't like to try and get into the guts of a 25-year-old game and try to understand how the pathfinding works. I've never been frightfully good at programming. I did take a course once, and I didn't do frightfully well. So I leave you people alone for 5 minutes and you start busting things down. Which means I should probably leave you alone more often. Would you mind doing a bit of work, friend? Thank you. As much as I love you, you're a right pain in my neck sometimes.
A landslide has occurred.
Oh man, I miss playing this game. I miss how strange and daft it is. Oh, we found 3 crystals. Tremendous. I remember sometimes I would I tried to sort of line people up with the last few crystals, like get to 4 crystals and then get, I don't know, the last 3 people or whatever holding their crystals and have them standing right here, and then just release them all at the same time and see if you could squeeze the last few crystals in very quickly, so that you could actually get up to like 6 or 7 or whatever, and get slightly more than you otherwise could. Oh, I didn't need to dynamite this because it was a drillable wall. Right. Massive waste of resources, wasn't that, Bib? Sorry about that. the embarrassing thing is, having played Manic Miners for 4 years and not playing this in the intervening years is it means that I'm no longer as good at this game as I once was, because of course I'm gonna keep thinking.
One more energy crystal.
So long to leave behind.
The cavern
I'm
was
leaving my
secured and
children
all 5
behind.
energy crystals were collected. Good work. Mission complete.
Don't know why I say that, because A, I don't have any kids, and B, I don't really want kids, so if I did have some kids, I'd probably be quite happy to leave them on an alien planet. Right, yeah, let's go on with it. I know I did terrible at everything. No, apparently I did good. I wish I could score 0% in one of my modules, 40% in another module, and 41% in the third module, and still get an overall score of 96. I'd have done better at university if that's how the world worked. Right, should we do a slightly more challenging one?
Explosive action.
That's a classic level because, and I don't think it was just me that would always use that level to train up all your rock raiders, so upgrade them, name them, and get them trained and everything. But let's do this one instead.
Okay, Rock Raider, this is a tough mission. The air in the evacuated caverns is being quickly used up. We must urgently construct a support station to supply more air. Use the tool store to transport down some more Rock Raiders to assist you in building the support station. Warning! The more Rock Raiders you transport down to help, the faster your air supply will run out.
That's not good, is it?
Power path.
Yes. Sorry, I was thinking for a handkerchief. I don't actually seem to have one to hand them. Has the brightness gone down or something? Yes. Yes, it clearly has. I was thinking it seemed a bit darker than it used to be. Right, never mind any of that. Oh, my brain just instantly goes to press T to teleport. No, Phil, this game is very much about using the mouse and using the keyboard very minimally. I mean, it's good if you want to play the game one-handed. So I suppose to a certain extent that makes it more accessible. But, you know. I mean, you can use the arrow keys and do this. And obviously you need to press space for stuff. Other than that, were there actually any keys that did anything? I don't know. I don't remember how the world works. No, I am slightly embarrassed to say that I don't really understand how this game works anymore. Because of course, I'm gonna keep thinking, oh, I can use a certain strategy or approach a problem in a particular way. But then, of course, that's going to be Manic Miner thinking rather than Rock Raider thinking. Which is, yeah, a little bit of a shame, as I said. I rather wish I'd come back to play this sooner rather than later. But then, at the same time, you know, people always, or often, talk about wishing they could experience something for the first time again. You know, rewatch a favourite film or listen to a very emotive song and hear that for the first time once again. But I suppose not playing something or watching something for a number of years and then coming back to it is about as close as we can get to without, you know, without brain damage or amnesia getting involved in the equation. I think that's about as close as we're ever going to get to experiencing something for the first time over again. But I don't know why I always like how quickly they how quickly the little animation goes for them clearing the rubble. Because it starts off slow, and then each one's a little bit faster, and then a little bit faster still, and it's super speedy. Oh man, alive! I've forgotten how much I like this game.
A landslide has occurred.
You know, now that I think about it, judging by the red hair and the orange jumpsuit, presumably these little generic Rock Raiders, who, to the best of my recollection, were never featured in the theme in the sets, given that you couldn't make anyone that did make one made a like a custom one rather than it just being a figure. Thought process, Phil, come on, keep going. So I'm guessing they were all based on Sparks, given that he had red hair, didn't he, and an orange jumpsuit, obviously. I'm reminded actually of one of the cutscenes. I feel like there's a cutscene where there's like a view of a cavern and there's a number of Rock Raiders in it, and you can actually see there are like two doxi, I don't know what the plural of docs would be, who are walking next to each other, and Oh yeah, it told you how much more ore you needed to upgrade. I'd forgotten about that. That's really sweet. There we go. Yes, I wonder sometimes if that was a little nod to the fact that if you bought a number of the sets, you'd get certain duplicates of the characters. So then your Rock Raider team might be made up of, 3 bandits, 2 docks, 4 jets, and a partridge and a pear tree. But no, I wonder if that was a little nod to that. I mean, I suppose implicitly these sort of little generic Rock Raiders were implied, certainly in like the opening cutscene of the game, because there's more crystals over there. Delicious. Because of course the people that we see are just the bridge crew. They're just the captain and the officers, so they're not presumably the people on the ground making sure that everything's running properly, because I can't possibly imagine you'd send out just 6 people on their own to explore the universe in a ship that's much too big for them. Unless the idea is to go out into the universe and plunder things, and the big ship is just there so it's full of empty cargo holds so that you can bring back much treasure. Possibly. I get the impression the themes of Lego, especially back in the 1990s, were a more benign than, looting and plundering. Lego have always had a preference for the more benign themes, because if I don't know if you've noticed, perhaps you have, perhaps you haven't, perhaps you pay attention to more important things like, I don't know, children's first steps or something, rather than paying attention to knockoff Lego. But no, if you've ever noticed that a lot of the knockoff Lego brands, like Mega Bloks and any number of the other ones, back when they were a bit more knockoffy, back before they just became complete carbon copies, the whole cycle of picking them up and putting them back in and picking them up and putting them back in. Oh, that used to piss me off no end when I was a kid, but now it's oddly endearing. Yeah, you might notice that some of the knockoff brands would often lean into military themes and do, aircraft carriers and attack helicopters and jets and tanks and all the rest of it. But Lego never did any themes like that. I think they had a very specific I don't know if policy is the right word, but I don't know, company position perhaps would be a better way of describing it, that they'd never do any themes like that. I suppose because they didn't want to glorify warfare, and they'd rather the kids played with more benign things than, tanks and guns and all the rest of it. Although I'm sure that went no way to stopping them from playing with that sort of thing if they wanted to, but you have to start somewhere, I suppose. But yes, so that's why you never see official Lego sets of tanks and jets and trucks and aircraft carriers and all the rest of it, unless they happen to be in another theme like Indiana Jones or Marvel or something, in which case, yes, then it's absolutely fine to have a tank, because, we licensed it and it's got Harrison Ford in it, so have all the tanks you want, I suppose. I don't know. Lego's a special thing, isn't it? Special thing. Right, I need to upgrade this, which I'll be able to do once these 2 bits of ore come in. There we go. Boop. Oh, it didn't make a boop sound. I was too busy talking over it. Sorry about that. Yes, my goodness. I've got how clicky this bloody mouse is. I can't stand clicky mice. I like silent mice. No, sorry. We're not, stop it, it's bloody mouse. We're not doing that daft approach to things. What do I need? I actually really need to not ore, really. I might as well just leave them to their own devices, because they've got plenty of ore and things to collect. The camera does seem so oddly confined in, I guess because you can zoom out so much more in Manic Miners. This button lets you cycle through the buildings, doesn't it? Yeah, so that you can just scoot between all your different buildings, which I guess is really good in levels like Back to Basics. If it says power is being drained for a building, then you can just scroll through those and instantly find the one that you want, which I suppose is even more useful if you've got different bases spread out across a map, rather than just having one base in one location. It could actually be really useful to be able to scoot through all your buildings and find out which ones are in danger. if you've been caught on the back foot, so to speak. Ah, dear. Sorry, if you were expecting some sort of, normal video, nah, we ain't doing that this evening, sister. We're doing this, which seems to just be nostalgia and self-indulgence, and me just having a sit here, being shouted at by my cat. Just stop shouting at me, please. Yeah, and just playing this and reminding myself of some old memories before we move on to whatever the hell the next stage of exploring Manic Minus in. Because although I've been playing Manic Minus for 4 years, somehow we haven't run out of things to look at, and I oddly have not run out of things to talk about, which is frankly quite incredible. But yes, you look over here, the frame rate's lovely. Over here, the frame rate's lovely. No wibbly wobbly water. And then if you come over here, it suddenly becomes a lot more jerky and juddery. I feel like part of it might be these lights, but there's no options for lights, are there? Yes, the music on. I've got music on. Or automatic game speed is not that. What are the walls look like? Put them on low. They look exactly the same. Sorry, I'm just piddling around with things at this point. They still look exactly the same to me. Maybe it's the way the walls look if you're in like first person mode. Is that the difference? I don't know. Answer a question about a game I'm supposed to know everything about.
A landslide has occurred.
No, still seem pretty much exactly the same to me. Oh, blimey, who turned out the lights? Right, sorry, mate, you can go back to your business now. I'll stop possessing your mind like some sort of witch. Sorry about that. I don't know what the automatic game speed would be.
Power path.
Vaguely remember some parts of the, or rather, some memory of reading a conversation somewhere where the game speed was somehow linked to, not linked to the frame rate, that's something different. But in terms of like it could sort of break the game or cause bugs in it if the game speed was too high, which presumably people that preferred to play the game on the higher speeds found that somewhat saddening, shall we say. Speaking of things that I should have said, I meant to say earlier when we were talking about the I seem to remember earlier when I was talking about the music and saying that I think the music in Manic Minus is not just lifted from the base game. I seem to remember reading, I can't remember if it was in a changelog or it was in an announcement by the developer on the on the Discord page thing, whatever they're called, saying that they'd actually been able to find like an original master copy of the music. Am I dreaming or am I remembering that accurately? Because I seem to remember them saying that the music files had been compressed in order to reduce their file size, which meant the audio fidelity wasn't quite as high as it would have been in the original composition, which meant that the music in Manic Minus could be that much higher quality because, of course, in this modern day and age, we aren't restricted by file sizes. I mean, we're barely restricted by file sizes at all these days, really, are we? Because, of course, most PC games, all PC games, ever since about... Actually, now that I think about it, probably since about 2015, which is terrifying. My kid, has it really been a decade since a PC game was sold on disc? That is terrifying. Oh my goodness, I do feel old all of a sudden. Yeah, so I guess online, we're never going to come into a capacity problem in terms of that because it's online, so you just download it. The only capacity problem you have is your internet speed, which I don't think in the modern world is that much of a problem, but I still live out in the arse end of nowhere, getting an average of about 0.6, 0.7, maybe 0.8 on a good day of download speed. And yeah, trying to download 60 gig of game on like 0.6 or 0.7 of a megabyte download speed is a long experience, shall we say. And of course, because the internet bandwidth is of that level, you can't do anything else while it is downloading. So basically the only thing you can do is leave the computer on overnight and let it download through the night whilst you are having a little bit of a snooze. But never mind, that's just the old ancient world that I live in. My old ancient world of old ancient computers, old ancient dress sense, and old ancient video games. Do you think we're going to encounter a completely authentic random crash? Oh dear. Yes, I was talking about the music and it being original master copies. I think that probably presents the epigee, I suppose, if that's a word, if I'm remembering it correctly. Of what I suppose I really admire about Manic Miners. I really admire that it is done sheerly out of the love for this game, because they go the extra mile time and time again to make things as good as they possibly could be. And I mean, finding original master copies of music from a game that was over 20 years old at the time, and then incorporating that into your remake, I mean, if that's not going the extra mile, I don't know what is. As far as I'm concerned, that's going like the extra marathon, the extra light year. That's a lot more effort than you find in so many things. So I don't know. Again, I'm gonna be old and grumpy about things here, but I do worry that the video game industry has become overly monetized. Seems the wrong word, but it's too much of a business, right? And you know, it's an argument you can make about any part of the arts, really, that the artist who does it as a love of a passion still needs to eat, so of course they need to sell their art. But then you have someone who's quite popular, and then they can make a lot of money selling it, and then businesses realize, well, we could make a lot of money doing this as well if we can find a way of making this art saleable. So there is more ore. That's good. I was getting a tad worried for a minute then that we'd run out, and I hadn't even noticed because I was too busy blabbering on. But no, seeing a game like Manic Miners, which has so much effort and so much love and care and attention put into it, you're going off to clear like a piece of that, which isn't going to achieve anything. A game which is done with such passion and with such care for the original source material, and then not even charging for it. I'm sure, well, I suspect, without wanting to be cynical, I suspect that the reason a lot of the remakes and fan remasterings and all the rest of it of beloved games from a long time ago are free is because, and I'm not a lawyer, but I imagine that if you make something which basically infringes on somebody else's copyright and you just make it public, that's one thing. But then if you make money for yourself off somebody else's copyright, I think that's probably a bit worse in the old litigation circles. So I imagine that probably is a contributing factor to the reason why some of these games and remasterings are old.
Done. You built a support station before you ran out of air.
And then it all got vaporized. Yes, I imagine that's part of the reason why some of these things are free. But hey ho, that doesn't really make a grand deal of difference. And the fact that it is free, you know, without being cynical, the fact that it's free is amazing, because it just means that you know, anybody with an internet connection can, and a decent enough computer can play Manic Miners. They haven't put it behind a paywall, so I don't know. I think it's a pretty wonderful thing. Unlike my score. My goodness gracious me. Well, I think that's about enough. I don't want to take up all of your evening, as I do in so many games, but I'll just show you one other little thing. Look. Boop. He goes up and presses the little button. That cute. Man, I should have come back and played this earlier. I really do love this game. I know it will, by definition, seem rudimentary when we are so spoiled with Manic Minus these days, but I don't know, there's a certain joy, there's a certain pleasure in coming back to it and seeing it in its original form, and reminding myself of exactly what Manic Minus introduced and as new stuff, and what was actually here. Always, and indeed seeing some of the things that are in the base game that they didn't choose to bring into Manic Minus, like being able to cycle through the buildings, for example. So yes, it's nice to come back and see the original source material. So anyway, slow down. There's a community speed watch area. There's somebody standing out in their garden with a hairdryer pretending to give people speeding tickets. Right, never mind. I don't know where I kept that off. Never mind. Thank you very much for joining me this evening, ladies and gentlemen, this frightfully self-indulgent evening. I apologise, but I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've got something out of it. So, yes, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it. Look after each other, and good night. I can't find the button on OBS, but don't worry about that. And the cat is trying to climb into the drawer where I keep all of the old computer stuff. But other than that, it's all going swimmingly. So let's just move on with our respective evenings, shall we? Good night.